Swen, welcome to Action to Go Go.
Hey, Derek, nice to see you.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're here to talk High Rollers premiering March 14th. Got to get that out there. And yeah, fun movie, man. Got to watch it recently. A lot of fun.
You know it is. I think it translates because we had a lot of fun on set. We all came back. We did the first one. We all bonded on it. We became a little family. Went apart, did some other stuff, and then we came back and kind of started where we left off. And it was just a fun movie with some great locations, some great scenes, and I think that came through in the final product.
No, absolutely. I mean, it can't be that hard to have fun just spending all that time in a casino, right? Those places are built for
It's
fun.
it is at the beginning, but it does get a little bit dangerous. You're
Oh,
working
wow.
there all day. That's one thing. But then there's the weekends, and you're seeing people gamble and playing, and
Mm.
it's pretty easy to walk by a machine and kind of stick a couple of bucks in. And when you're shooting for 3, 4 weeks, you got to be careful. But it was fun to be able to shoot on location at a real casino.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta watch your dollars. They go very easily at those places.
They do. I fortunately won a couple of bucks, so
Oh,
that
cool.
made it fun and definitely added to the excitement of making the movie.
Excellent, excellent. Well, just to talk about the movie, I mean, obviously the elephant in the room, John Travolta. I think you've worked with him before, previously, the last movie.
Yeah, so we did Cash Out One together,
There you go.
and just a phenomenal guy. Truly just as sweet as he gets, very giving, very kind. And there's coming back to it, it was sort of like, hey, Swen, how's it going? How's everything been? And just
Mm.
you know started where we left off, and I have nothing but praise to say about John Travolta.
No, that's awesome. He gives a great performance, and that just came through in the film. I mean, obviously he's one of the leads here, and he's just so good. You
He
just
is.
yeah, you sort of
He's
forget about
he's
these
he's
guys.
done this for a long time, and he's made a lot of movies over his career, but he still takes it serious. He takes every role, every project. He really takes it to heart, and you can tell that he works on it, and he's present, and he's focused, and he gives us actors, everyone in the scene, he really gives them their moment to shine. So it was just really nice to be able to see that, especially from a man who's been doing it forever.
No, yeah, awesome. And just looking at your filmography and your career, dude, you've worked with a lot of heavy hitters. What I mean, does that get intimidating, or do you just look at it as another day at the job? Like how do you deal with work with these incredibly impressive people?
I think it's always at the beginning. You have these ideas of your idols, and then you get to work with them. You walk into the room and you sit down and you talk with them. And it's pretty much instantly that those fears or those preconceived notions of what some people may have said about them just fly out the door. Because I've worked with, these bigger people like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Travolta, and so on. And I have never had a bad experience. Everybody's human at the end of the day. And it's once you realize that those fears go away and they're part of a project. We're all on the same team. We're all trying to achieve the same end goal of making a great film with a great story that people like. So as long as you see it like that, it makes it a little bit less nerve-wracking. But the first few seconds, you're definitely like, how's this gonna be?
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's great to walk away with a great experience and not have those horror stories you sometimes hear about. But yeah.
I mean, it happens. Like I said, in the end, we're all human and we all have our bad days and good days. And I've been fortunate enough to catch the good days.
Cool, cool. Well, maybe you could walk me through your process as an actor because you have an incredible pedigree, Lee Strasberg School and the Royal Academy and whatnot. How do you prepare for these roles?
I mean, I think every role kind of deserves a different approach because a true story or a real character, like I played in American Trader, The Trial of Axis Sally, is definitely a different preparation than playing Karas on Cash Out. Obviously, playing somebody real who actually lived a life, there's a lot more responsibility that comes with playing a character like that because you're trying to do them justice by doing the homework, by doing the research to see how they lived their life, what their mannerisms were, how they spoke, how they talked about things, how they moved their lips and their mouth, because you're trying to really get as close to that person as possible. So it definitely takes a lot more work to get a character right when it's based off of somebody. Whereas when you're playing a fictitious character, you get a little bit more of that creative license of bringing what you think is right to the character and having a little bit more fun with it and kind of working with your director and seeing what works and what doesn't work. But in the end, I kind of, look at every character that I play like a fresh canvas that's sort of white, and you just start with the outline and you work your way out. You start filling in certain colors, you see what works, what doesn't work. And by the end of it, hopefully you have, a beautiful painting that you're proud of. But it takes time of reading the script and finding out where the character starts, where the character goes, how it arcs, and that's sort of the fun part of sort of digging into a character and seeing how they tick. And then obviously if you have a director that's very hands-on, being able to speak to them and getting their creative input on where they think the character goes as well is fun, because in the end it's a collaborative art form, and sometimes it's easier to see something from the outside perspective rather than from the inside.
Very cool, very cool. And it's always I always appreciate hearing about that process as someone who fancies himself as a writer, hearing how actors talk about their processes and their art, right?
I have the utmost respect for a writer, because I think what we do is easy. We take the words that you guys write for us and bring them to life, but being able to essentially figure out this whole story and the little piece that I'm a part of, but in the end, a writer's got to figure out what the whole story is, what each character does, how they fit into the puzzle, and being able to sit down, behind a computer and figure that all out. Hats off to you.
Thank you. Well, I would be honored for you to maybe make one of my characters come to life one day. But you do spend a lot of time with Natalie Ura, right? She's your love interest in the movie. And I guess this would be my final question. When you're in a relationship with a person on screen as an actor, do you take any special time with them to sort of talk about that dynamic, or do you just let rehearsals handle that, or what's the process there?
I mean, this was a different case because we'd already sort of built up a friendship from the first one that really had a whole different dynamic to it. So there was not that like getting to know the other person and seeing how they work. It was just coming back and, taking it to the next step. And usually, I mean, if you're coming into a script where you're freshly starting out, obviously you sit down with the other person, and depending on how the relationship goes in the script, there's certain things obviously that you need to talk about and figure out, and the dynamic between the two characters. But in this case, it was nice because we'd already worked together, we knew each other, and it was easy just diving into that and finding the connection.
That's very cool. Very cool. It's always nice to hear, when people work together from previous films, there seems to be some camaraderie that helps the process along.
Absolutely. And especially when it's a great group of people like we have in this case, where everybody really did get along. There wasn't a single person that sort of fell out of place. Everybody really bonded and stuck together. And I truly felt like we could all rob a casino by the end of it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, count me in. I'll be the driver
Perfect.
or something. But Swen, thank you so much. I'm gonna do some exploring. You've been in some incredible films. Want to discover more of your work, and thank you so much for taking the time. Fun movie. Glad you had a blast, and just wish you and yours the best of luck moving forward.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Derek.
This is Derek Scarzella. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching or enduring. If you're feeling generous or even just mildly entertained, please like, subscribe, and comment to support the channel. I know you've got opinions. Don't even try to deny it. Drop them in the comments. Argue with me. Argue with each other. You are officially invited to engage in glorious internet combat. You can also find me on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Instagram's awkward little brother, and the granddaddy of them all, Facebook. Oh, And while I've still got your attention, my novels The Vicious Game and Knuckle Crack Bone are up on Amazon. They're unapologetically gritty, punch you in the face crime stories with rave reviews. If you give them a shot, I'd be honored. Thank you again for watching. Rest well, hero. You're home.